Okay, here's Stadia II by Julie Maretu, and this was made in 2004, and it is ink and acrylic on canvas. It's a part of a three, like it's part of a set of three, which you could see in this upper right corner. And so this is the middle piece of Stadia 2, which when you see all three pieces together, you could really get that effect of what she was trying to create. This piece alone is approximately 9 feet by 11 feet, so it's very large. Julie Maretu was born in 1970 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. She moved to the United States when she was a child, and she's really a good representative of an artist that is searching for a very different type of expression of an African identity. And that's as opposed to Ella Natsui, who uses the materials of colonialism in his work. Instead, she addresses the themes of movement and change within her work. Maretu's paintings and drawings refer to places where people congregate in their daily lives, and she always uses elements of mapping. She's very much interested in showing that. It often has a structural composition in the tradition of architecture, sometimes achieving almost a calligraphic complexity, which you could see in this piece right here, that resembles turbulent atmosphere and dense social networks. Architectural renderings and aerial views of urban grids enter the works as fragments, losing their real-world specificity and challenging narrow geographic and cultural readings. The paintings end up having a wax-like surface because it's built up over weeks and months in translucent layers. So this piece is very layered. And then it has a luminous warmth and spatial depth due to that. Their formal qualities of light and space are made all the more complex by Maretu's delicate depictions of fire, explosions, and perspectives in both 2 and 3 dimensions. Her work engages the history of non-objective art, from constructivism to futurism, posing contemporary questions about the relationship between utopian impulses and abstraction. Her work speaks to her own identity and history of movement, but also to the transnational movement of many others that are uprooted either by choice or force, and as they create new identities in this modern day globalized world. Maretu says of her work, "My aim is to have a picture that appears one way from a distance, almost like a cosmology, city, or universe from afar, but when you approach the work, the overall image shatters into numerous other pictures, stories, and events. I'm making pictures that are about what is happening in the world in abstract terms, but it is not an illustration of what is going on in current events. Rather than setting out to tell a narrative, the goal is to capture the essence of experience." That's the function. So upon first viewing from 5 or 10 feet away, we encounter the feeling of totality, a shimmering force of lines, gesture, and specific matter, really a coherent chaos. What's extraordinary, though, is that when we move nearer to the surface of the work, we encounter an onslaught of fresh detail. There are hand-inked lines and scratches. There's gestural marks, delineations, logos, structural referments, and even visual puns. Maretu's inhabits her own work like a citizen of an imaginary city, role-playing alternately as an urban planner, an itinerant vandal, a mercenary soldier, and intellectual theorist, commenting on the myriad complexities of socio-political space. Maretu's paintings has often been described as like virtual worlds, almost like The Sims. I don't know if you guys remember that. So Stadia 1, 2, and 3 form a triptych composed of 3 staggeringly complex and engulfing works. These huge canvases explode with stylized renderings of what looks like stadium architecture and overlays of international emblems, flags, or even corporate logos. The piece pulses with color in a vibrant, brilliant um, I just lost my spot. Hold on. The piece pulses with color in a brilliant antagonism, a massive diagram that lays bare a, like a psycho-visio conquest for ideological and corporate brand loyalty on a global scale. In this one, it's a sports metaphor, but they're milking it for every possible association. It could be war, power, competition, advertising, fascism, fanaticism, pageantry, media. There's so much that could be added on to it. This piece tells us that within the confines of the three monster canvases, we are always inhabiting multiple realms that include visual space, cognitive space, social space, corporate space, and political space. The artist for this does something few single works of art can do. It surges with the impossibility of grasping the world, and in doing so, offers us a moment in which to try. She's very much affected by the art of cartography. Cartography is map making, and that is the conceptual center of most of Miretu's project, particularly this one. And that's because like the influence of that comes from her Ethiopian father, who was a cultural geographer. Miretu's influence on his daughter shines through her work and its manifold themes of global migration, societal upheaval, shifting economies, and manifestations of corporate, political, and military power is seen through an organizing principle of mapping systems. So that is Stadia II, and they're really cool because she also uses um, computer work, and then she also has people who help her because they basically project what her computer images are onto the canvas, and then they help her draw it, and then she fills in. So we've talked about the use of a like a having people in regards to like the like a oh gosh, I'm totally blanking on to say, but it's she's using a lot of different people to help her create her art, but in essence this is what she sees. But this one in particular, I know you guys can see that it very much looks like a stadium, like for the Olympics or for the World Cup.